What's up, everybody? This is Rob Live. We're back in studio. Jim, how we feeling?
Feeling good, man. Dude, I thought it was going to rain all day today and nothing. It's beautiful
Rain
outside.
on the rain. Yeah, it didn't.
Oh, dude, that's nice.
Milli Vanilli. Yeah, it didn't happen, but we are in Central California.
Yeah.
You haven't heard the song?
Mm-hmm. No.
It never rains in Central Cal. Oh wait, that's sorry.
Yeah,
That's Southern California. Anyway, folks, I want to talk a little bit in the beginning. We haven't done this before, but a little different. I wanted to share this. And the Sam Donaldson, hopefully I got his name correct, right? Sam Donaldson, he's the Super Bowl. And I know, sorry, Patriots fans, but we know Seahawks won. I'm not trying to rub it in. It's just I want to make a message here. Sam Donaldson, I looked at his track record after winning the Super Bowl. He got not cut, but just not re-signed and, moved on from 4 different teams before he got to his Seahawks. And in his first season with the Seahawks, right, he wins the Super Bowl. So imagine getting rejected that many times by NFL professionals, right? These are scouts and coaches who says he doesn't have what it takes. We're moving on from him. Then last season, he's with Minnesota. He wins 14 games, right? Who doesn't keep a quarterback who's won 14 games? And for whatever reason, we know the NFL's a business. Minnesota trades him. I just imagine Sam Donaldson going, dude, what else do I need to do? I won 14 games. Mm-hmm. They still got rid of me. And now I'm in Seattle, right? Ends up in Seattle and continues and wins a Super Bowl, right? And so I've been really studying this guy lately because his journey is very similar to a lot of us, including myself and Jim. It's like we've got these great episodes. We put in the time. Jim's built an amazing studio. We feel like we've got the right guests, including today's guest, right? We got bangers out there, and we're like, where are we with all this, And when you watch a guy like Sam Donaldson stick it out, you want to know what kept him going, right? So I did some research, and there was an interview after the Super Bowl, and he says, the reason I remained so confident in myself is my parents. Their unwavering belief in me. And so I know a lot of you, audience right now, you're going, great, I don't have those type of parents, right? I understand that. We don't have the rah-rah parents. But guess what? There is a rah-rah person in your life. And here's my simple message today. When they speak life into you, when they tell you that you're destined for greatness, you have a simple task. Believe them. Too many times we write off the people who believe in us as, oh, well, you have to say that you're my mom, or Jim's just being nice because he's my partner. Believe them. That is your task, and that is my message for the day. When people believe in you, when people are speaking life into you, when people love you, and they're praising what you're doing, take it in and believe them, and then you become the next Sam Donaldson. Well, you don't play for the Seahawks, but you know what I'm saying. And that's one to grow on. You ready, Jim?
Yeah, I'm ready.
I had to say that, man.
Yeah,
I had to say that because this next guy's inspirational. So I go to the comedy show last week. Remember I told you I was going to comedy?
Yeah.
Trent Babb, Cal Comedy. Hopefully I got that right. Great local comedy. I show up. It's at it was about 2 weeks ago now. And the main one was Andre Covington, right? We all know him from the radio station, right? 97.1, Greg and Dre show. But, there's always the opening acts, and then, different people come in. And so this guy stood out to me, and I looked at my wife, and I was like, hey, I need to get him in the studio. She's like, go talk to him. Right? So we go up, and we find, I don't think we just a brief conversation there, but then I followed up with Trent Babb and said, can you get me his contact number? And so, hey, dreams come true sometimes. And so now, live in studio with this, from Fresno, California, we have Chris Cruz.
Dude, I'm over here making dreams come true, dude. I didn't know that, man.
Chris is in the house.
Chris is in the house. No.
Nice.
Yeah, no, you did. I was like, man, we got to get Chris in here. And sure enough, you're the right guy.
Righteous.
So I want to start and from the beginning, right? You're from Fresno, growing up here. Did you grow up born and raised here in the Valley?
So I was born in L.A., and I moved to Fresno when I was like 4, going on to 5. So 1989, 1990 is when I moved out here. So I pretty much only know Fresno as
growing up.
Yeah.
Then grade school, high school, where'd you go to high school?
Central High School?
Central. Yeah. The original Central, which is now Central East, right?
Mm-hmm.
The reason we asked that, we're both teachers.
Oh, yeah?
So, yeah, and so we understand just how much your high school and your school experience kind of shapes you, as in some ways. And so we're always interested in like where people come from.
That's real.
Great people from the Grizzly. You were a Grizzly, right?
The Grizzlies.
So then you graduate, right? At what point are you like, hey, comedy's it for me?
So what ended up happening is I did a talent show when I was in high school, and I placed. No. I did a talent show and I didn't place at all, but I did really well. But I didn't place because I was too dirty.
Wait, it wasn't for the school.
It was at the school. Yeah, it was at the school.
So
and
you're telling dirty jokes on stage, and the principal's like,
yeah. She pulls me in and she is like, "Oh man, it's just too dirty. Maybe for a comedy club, but we got students, we got parents here. You can't be doing that."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "All right, fine. I'll show you. I'll go up there and I'll do normal stuff." So then there was another talent show, and I went and I did that, and I focused, and I really sat there and wrote, and I placed second. And then at that point, I was like, all right, it was my senior year. I was like, okay, bet. You know, I did well. I did well enough to where I got second place, and then boom, and then I go to college, and that was just always just kind of like a fun thing that I did when I was in high school. But I went to college, I get my job. You know, I graduated 2004, so I'm just
college. Were you here in Fresno? Or?
Yeah, just Fresno City, just whatever.
Yeah, the Rams, the mighty Rams.
I ran from there as soon as I could to just work at. I just wanted to get a job and get out of there. You know what I mean? So then I get hired at this beer company, and I was making pretty good money. And in 2009, I get let go, and then what happens is I look up my old joke book that I just told you.
Were you writing the whole time when you were out of school, or
sprinkles? I would come up with an idea and be like, oh, let me write that down, But you never really think about that, you know what I'm saying? So then when I get laid off and I have all this free time, now my book is it filled up quick, and I got a full book full of jokes, and I'm just like, oh man, this is crazy. Like maybe I should do something with this. So that was when. I think 2009, when I was unemployed, I was making my unemployment checks, and I was just like, I got nothing to lose. Let me go out there and give it a shot. And then I went and I did some open mics, and it was just like a bug that bites you, and you just get infected with it, and you just can't stop.
I've heard that. I've heard it's addictive at some point, the high from being on stage. But I wanted to take a step back. Most comedians, maybe not all, but most have some other comedian that kind of inspires them and makes them want to go on stage. Did you have some guys early on in life that you looked at or looked up to?
100% Pablo Francisco.
100%. I love that you say that.
100, bro.
He's underrated, don't you think?
Bro, it makes me so upset when I bring him up. Nobody knows him. Who's that? I'm like, bro, you don't understand. He was I recorded his Comedy Central back when we used to have VCR.
That's the one, Comedy Central.
Comedy Central Presents. I recorded it. And I remember I gave it to someone at school, and they thought it was so funny that they gave it to someone else. And like that video just passed around all of high school, and everyone was like, yo, I could word for word say all, you know what I'm saying? I love that,
Do you know him? So Pablo Francisco, that was the thing. He had, I think he had great sound. He did the movie voice. Right? And he would do like the Terminator, what was it, Tortilla Boy or something?
Little Tortilla Boy.
Yeah. But he had that, that movie voice that when you watch the trailers, it's like that deep.
And he was the first one to make fun of that. Back in the 90s, it was like, this summer.
That sounds familiar when you say it like that.
Yeah. No, he was known for that.
And then he would make memes of like making fun of stuff, right? Wasn't there?
Is he still
this
out there?
This was before memes, man.
Yeah, I think, this is early.
This is a lot. Yeah, I think 2003.
Yes.
It was before Carlos Mencia got real big.
Yes. It was like 1999, 2000.
1999 to 2002, I think, is when he was a real big thing. He's still doing it now, and he's still hilarious. Wow. Bro, if you go watch a Pablo Francisco show, it's going to take you right back. I mean, I saw him in Irvine like a couple years ago, and I was just like a little kid laughing.
Have you had a chance to meet him?
Bro, it's funny you bring. That's actually how I decided to marry my wife, dude. Because yeah, man. So that's actually a pretty intense story, bro. So
give it to us.
All right. So this is what happened, man. Love him. He's my inspiration. he's somebody that just woke me up to comedy, because before I saw Pablo, I was just like, yeah, stand-up comedy is whatever. But I see him and I'm just like, oh man, this is, I'm hooked. That's what got me to even go up on stage at my high school to do the thing was Pablo Francisco. And long time. I mean, now that was 2004, 2003, 2009. We're barely at now. This is maybe 2023 that this happened. So what ended up happening is I asked at the time, just a girl that I'm talking to,
Is this high school?
No, this is 2003.
Okay, yeah, you're at high school.
My future wife. I asked her to go out on a date. Pablo Francisco was coming into town.
Oh, there you go.
And I wanted to get tickets, but the tickets were like $75.
Yeah.
I'm like, there ain't no way Pablo Francisco $75. There's just no way. And it was one of those ticket resellers. That's the only place you could find tickets. Is someone was selling for
like
$80.
StubHub.
Yeah. So then my buddy at the time, and I hate to name drop, but I just got to give love to this guy, Rene Vaca. He worked with the Tower Theater. And at the time, me and him were like, kind of like, anytime he would come to town, we would work together. So I hit him up and I'm like, hey bro, is there anything you can do to hook me up with some tickets, man? I'm not trying to pay no $75. I mean, I will, but no, I'm not giving some scalper 75. And Rene is like, hey bro, yeah, man, I'll tell you what, I'll message Pablo himself.
Wow.
And then he sent this screenshot of him messaging Pablo and Pablo responding, oh yeah, I'll put him on my guest list. Boom. I was like,
You're
no
on
way.
Pablo's guest list.
I'm on Pablo's guest list, bro.
God.
So check this out. Then I take my date at the time, my future wife. I take her to eat, and then we go to the front, and I'm like, all right, I'm here. I'm on Pablo Francisco's guest list. It's Chris Cruz +1, and then they're like, we don't have a guest list. Like, what do you mean you don't have a guest list? I got a screen cap right here. They're like, no, there's no guest list, sir. It's gonna be $20. And I'm like, $20? I thought they were 75. Like, I'm like, yeah, I'll pay you $40 for two, but I'm on the guest list. Like, you sure you don't have no one you can ask? Well, I mean, we'll go last, but I didn't hear nothing. So they go to the back, they come back, and then the producer, she comes in and like she's giving me this weird look, and she goes, Chris Cruz, do you do stand-up comedy? And I'm like, no. First thing she comes in, she's like, oh yeah, you're on the guest list. You're on Pablo's guest list. Come on in. And she's bringing me in, and she's like, Chris Cruz, do you do stand-up comedy? And I'm like, yeah, I do stand-up comedy.
Matter of fact, I do.
Yeah, she's like, around town? Yeah. Okay, well, the main producer of this show, his name is Leonard. He's an old man with white hair. If you see him walking around, go introduce yourself to him. Like she tells me this, and I'm just like, I'm feeling all like, oh my with my date, I'm just like, hey, you see, they know me. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and, Red Lobster and Pablo. You guys went to Red Lobster, huh?
No, we went to Strummers. They had La Belula or something like that.
Oh, Strummers is a restaurant too?
For a small amount of time, they had a La Belula. It's some restaurant in Fresno.
Okay, wow.
They're really good, but for a short amount of time, they were in Strummers. So we went there. We ate there. Delicious food. And I'm sitting there. I have no intention of going to talk to this guy because, like, I understand how it is. He's too busy, whatever.
Yeah.
And we're sitting there, and I see her, the lady, the Tower Theater.
Yeah.
Right? So we're sitting in our seats, and she goes all the way to the back, and then almost instantly, she comes all the way back, and then she comes up, and she leans in. She's like, Leonard would want to know if you want to come to the back and meet Pablo Francisco.
What is happening?
If you would like to open the show.
No way. You're not. I thought you were going to say that. No way.
And I'm like, I'm looking at, and I told her, like, this is my hero. This is the guy that got me into stand up. And I was like, yeah, I'll go back there and meet him. And then she introduced.
Is your heart go?
Bro, nothing like this has ever happened in my career. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of fun things that happen, but like that, like, so I go to the back and I see Pablo, and I'm just like starstruck, like, oh man. And then Leonard was like, no. This is how the story went. She just said, do you want to go back and meet Pablo Francisco?
Yeah.
And when I get there, that's when Leonard tells me, hey, do you want to just like open up for like 10 minutes? And I'm just like,
did you have 10 minutes of material?
I'm ready. I'm
Oh,
ready.
yes.
Yeah, dude, and then when you get to that
Can
stage,
I pause for a second?
Yeah.
Audience members, right? They say luck is what? When preparation meets opportunity. Chris was prepared. Can we get what's our DJ horn? We get there.
No, I got this.
What do we got?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, be ready. Stay ready. That was awesome. So you were ready. Go ahead.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I mean, they call it a routine for a reason. It's
Yeah.
a comedy routine. Like, it's just a routine. Like, you say your same opener, your same closer, and it's a routine you just go through. So I got my 10 minutes ready, and I go up there. My heart's racing. And,
You went up. You
bro,
did it.
and here's another thing about me is I've learned, and this is one of those tricks. There's a lot of little tricks in the trade, a stand-up.
Yeah.
And one of the things that, that's just a known rule is you don't want to eat before you go on stage. Because this is something that Cat Williams says. You want to feel that hunger. You want to be hungry on stage.
Not burping in the mic. And
It's not so much that, but it's just kind of, they also have that in sales. Because I work in sales a long time. Is this,
Yeah.
if you go to work hungry, it's going to make your mind sharper. When that customer comes in, you're going to be a little more accurate with your pitches because you're physically hungry. So that's just something I've always had for years. I don't eat before I go on stage. And I'm full because I just ate so much. That's how I knew that I was not going to go on stage.
damn those strummers.
And then I go up there and I kill it. 10 minutes, knocked it out of the park. And when I get off, Leonard's like, hey, we're doing another show in Merced tomorrow. Do you want to come and open for that? I'm just like, no way.
What did
No
Pablo say when you met him?
way. Surreal. So I'm not someone that's gonna just, hey, what's going on? Like I just, hey, how's it going? I'm a big fan, and that's it. And I was just there kind of watching him. So we didn't really, other than that, that's all that was that first night. But night 2 in Merced,
You go a second night.
bro,
What
I'm
did your
telling you.
date say when she's like, my date is on stage performing at a big venue with a big name? Like,
On
what
our
was,
first date.
oh
right?
my
Was
God,
that-
no
yeah.
way. She's like, when do we get married? Like,
Yeah.
So we had gone on dates before that,
Oh,
but
yeah.
that was like, we were just talking at this time. We were just dating.
But if
know?
you had to impress somebody at the time, jeez. it's
Yeah,
like, let me have you meet, all these people, and then I'm gonna be on stage, and we didn't even know it.
I'm telling you, that was a crazy, crazy time. So I didn't get much time to talk to him that night, but
Yeah.
in Merced, I really got to just, like, we went outside, and him and his feature, Dustin Ibarra, we were all smoking cigarettes and, joshing about, this and that. And I got to actually interact with Pablo. Like, and he was just like making jokes about people that we knew. And he had such positive things to say. He's so quick, because you know how he is on stage.
Yeah, yeah.
And just in life, he was just so quick. Like, it's like his mind just moves so fast. And he was just so positive. He said one thing that stuck out to me is, he's like, how old are you? I'm like, I'm 36. This was 3 years ago this happened. And he's like, oh man, you're so young. You're so young. I know you don't think you're young, but man, when you get to this age, you would do anything to be 36 again. You know what I mean? Like,
how old is he?
at the time, I don't even know. I think he was 50 or 45 or something like that.
Yeah.
But very positive, very positive. He was talking about like how he was still like grieving the loss of Kobe Bryant, and he was talking. Yeah, no, he was just a very authentic person, and it was only for a little bit, But we got to really like jam for like a solid 15 minutes, and I didn't really go gushing like, oh my God, you're the reason I didn't do
Yeah.
none of that. I wanted to, but it was surreal. It was surreal. And the crazy thing is, it's like, it's an out of body experience. This is one of those once in a career moments,
Yeah.
and it's all gone. After the show's done,
There's no ongoing. Is that normal for comedy? Because I thought it was going to be like, let's keep talking, or the producer. Or...
now, I mean, if I was a weasel, I could have, hey, let me get your number, let me open for you, and you know what I mean. But I don't. I'm just appreciative of being there. I'm shocked that I'm even open for the guy. Now I say, hey, if I'm a weasel, I do this. But some people say, oh, if you're, professional or whatever, I don't know. That's just not who I am. So I didn't really get any contact information like that. But It was just a very weird scenario that from the moment that I did the show at Tower Theater to the end of the Merced show, it was like a magical Disneyland dream come true.
Yes.
And then as soon as the show was over, the crowd disperses, venue's empty, silence, and I'm just driving home. I got to work tomorrow.
Yes. You know what? I want to talk about that for a minute. This idea that when you're first getting into any sort of business, right? That you have your stage moments and then you have your everyday moments, and that the contrast it's kind of mind-blowing, right? Because you're like, wait, last night I was opening up for Pablo, and today I'm trying to get 3 new customers for T-Mobile. There's 2 different worlds.
I'd say between 5 and 10 years, you get numb to that. I'd say within the first 5 years, it's hard to balance that. Man, I was just performing with Jim Brewer last night.
Yeah.
Man, I was just performing with whoever, Greg Fitzsimmons or whatever, whoever it was. I can't. My heart rate's too much.
Are you still on a high the next day, or is it?
Oh man, sometimes it'll last multiple days, the whole week, bro. And that's the thing about.
Do your coworkers believe you?
Well, you got video evidence.
They're like, Chris, come on, Chris, really?
Yeah, and then
did anyone see you at the show and go like, wait, fool, I saw you last night?
Trip out on this, old coworker, we had just crossed paths, and she was with her date and I was with my date, and I was, oh, you like Pablo? She's like, yeah, and we were just jamming about how much we both like Pablo.
No, she got pissed because she's like, bro, you were going to be on stage. You didn't even tell me.
Yeah, it was like that, where she was like, what? And so, yeah, it was weird but we didn't work together. That was like an old acquaintance.
Oh, okay.
But, yeah, I mean, if you're a stand-up comedian and you're putting shows on, if you work with people, you're probably asking, hey, come see my show. Come see my show.
Yeah.
So more often than not, they're going to see you, and it's really not too unbelievable from their perspective to be like, nah, he's lying. He didn't really do that. They'll be like, oh, damn, that was a good one, So it's pretty.
To their credit, they do buy the, yeah, good.
Yeah.
So, okay, so I always thought, and, help us with the audience here too. And Jim, correct me if you had a different impression. I thought that when you meet certain people, right, and they ask you to be part of their show, that becomes the beginning of a lasting relationship. That's what I thought. That's how I thought it worked.
All right. So there's 2 different things. Now, if this was a Pablo Francisco tour, that it was him.
Yeah.
And if Renee Vaca got me in that way, then I'm able to, oh man, let me go with you. But that's not what it was. It was a producer, a Trent Babb of sorts. Some producer was Perico Productions. They're really good.
I've heard of them.
Yeah. Perico Productions by Celia, man, they put on really good comedy shows. I've worked with them a lot.
Who's the guy behind that, or girl?
Leonard, I think it's Vasquez or Velasquez.
Oh, Leonard's the guy that you met?
Yeah. And then I've worked with Josh Blue with him. I've worked with Chingo Bling, with
some big names.
Pablo Francisco. Yeah, some of my biggest names have been through.
Have you done the Fox Theater in Visalia?
Yes.
Because when I think Perico, I think Fox Theater.
Yes, I did that. I've worked with him a couple of times out there.
Okay.
And
did they do the George Lopez stuff too? I thought it was Perico.
I think he does. He does like Paul Rodriguez. And
yes,
he gets big names.
Yeah,
he gets big names. But it's his production.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So me and Leonard had, that's what the point you're trying to get at is, hey, I thought you connect with this guy.
And Pablo takes you on tour with him.
So he's not the guy that's running the show.
Okay.
Leonard is the guy that's running the show.
Now, do you have a continually working relationship with Leonard?
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, because you do good. And the thing is, when you're booking a show, it's a risk, You never know how things are going to go, but you can see it with your own eyes. Because I produce shows myself. You see it with your own eyes. Man, this guy has got it. I got to have him back. So as long as you can impress the producer of the show, that's like a guarantee you're going to get rebooked.
So how often do you have to work, and at what level venue, to make it now a living and not have to hold a second job?
So that's a crafty question there, man. So a lot of people have this mindset. If I could make 50 grand a year doing stand up, I'll be cool. Or if I can make $5,000 a month doing stand up, I'll be cool. You know what I mean? So that's kind of like the goal. But how in the world can you make $5,000 doing stand up? You know, it ain't going to be doing little Mickey Mouse shows. You're going to have to get some contracts involved. So how I have learned that some people get to that point is through college
tours,
cruises, and
the cruises.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to say this right now, Jim. We've done Carnival Cruise. Okay, we know the 2 or 3 acts. I can say Chris in front of me. I mean, my mom's the cruise queen. I've been on at least 10, 15 cruises, and I go to the comedy shows all the time. You could easily be the guy on the cruise ship.
I appreciate that.
So how do you get on there? Like,
that's another thing. It's another thing. It's
you have to know someone.
You gotta know someone, man. It ain't about. That's I'd say that's the one thing that hurts the most about stand up is it does not matter how good you are. To an extent. To an extent. If you're a genius, you'll get found.
Yeah.
You know, and they'll take you. But if you're really good, that's not enough. You also have to be good at networking. You also have to be good at putting yourself out there. You also have to be in the right place at the right time.
But
so,
I don't think you're giving yourself any credit because this guy saw him, or whoever that woman was, saw you, and can you go and meet this guy? And then like, we need 10 minutes of you. It's like they knew of you to give you confidence.
Yeah.
To be able to go up there and fill in that 10 minutes, whatever reason.
That's what I'm saying.
But yeah, it's like, you got to give yourself some credit, right?
I have to give myself credit, but at the same time, true. I was able to be in the moment and make it happen. That takes a lot of skill, but so many things had to line up. I never really got an answer, but I feel like the host fell out that night. Like he didn't show up or something, and they needed somebody. And I just happened to be there, right place, right time.
Yeah. But like if Robert and I were there, they wouldn't say, "Hey, we need someone to talk up there in front of you." It's like, no, just get that guy Chris.
Your seat 47.
Yeah, no.
Do you want to go up? You know what I mean? Like I get it.
No.
That's real. That's a real point, man.
Wow.
Cruises though, yeah, you gotta know the right people and also have the goods.
Now, I've known people who have just been very just happy with where they're at and don't want to do the tour, don't want to go any further. What are your aspirations personally?
Well, I mean, I feel like I had my first, I want to say 4 years where I just had all the hope in the world. Man, what if I make it? What if I become a household name? What if everything changes? And then between 4 and 6 years to like 8 years, once you get to year 10, everything changes. 10 years is like the what's the word I'm looking for? The
milestone?
Not milestone. It's the measure of like, hey, I've done it for 10 years, and like things start to change at that point. You know what I mean? So it's like, there was a time where I really wanted to make it. There really was, but you see so many people. I think one of the things for me is there were times where I was in the room with a comic to my right and a comic to my left. Both were like 10 times the comic that I was, and I was good at the time. And these comics moved to LA, nothing happens. So what that does to me is like, man, these comics are 10 times what I am. They move out, nothing happens. What hope do I have? And then you see comics that are 1/2 of what you are, make it. And it's just like, man, what is going on? You know what I mean? So it's like, it's really not about, are you a funny stand-up comedian? It's more about, can me, the production agency, make money off selling you? You know what I mean? Hey, Chris, you're this big, fat Mexican funny guy. Can I really sell that? Or can I sell, some dude who, wears a backwards red hat and talks about a truck, and he's the guy who talks about trucks,
Yeah.
I can make more money off that than, you know what I mean? So it's like, you know what I mean?
One, timing too. I think timing is everything too, because you might walk, into a room where someone is about ready to leave and they see you, and then it's just that timing that, that you guys met eyes and it worked out, anything can happen. It's just the luck of the draw. I mean, we're at the same boat. We're trying to make this show take off and be, national, and it's about timing. It's about, but keep doing what we're doing. So, yeah.
I'm learning a lot just right here with you, And so, okay, so at this point, I guess the big question is, you still trying to make it? Like, is this still a thing for you to take it to the next level?
You know what? I think I'm going to get my ducks in a row and really give it one more shot. One more just like final charge. It's fourth quarter. You're down by, 10 points. There's only like 3 minutes on. We got to score and get the ball back. We got to start making some moves, making some plays. I think I'm going to give it one final charge here because I do have my hour.
Yeah.
I do have my merchandise.
Yeah.
I do have, I have all the right weapons. I just need to go for that one charge. And
Don't you have a special coming up?
Yeah. In fact,
when is it?
That, you know what? It was supposed to be filmed on the 28th, but the venue kind of were the 28th of February, but the venue's kind of there's something going on with them.
Yeah.
So we don't know when exactly it's going to be, but I know that I just did a trial filming of it on the 20th of December.
Yeah.
And I was very happy with how it came out. Because the thing is, like, I'm gonna give you this. Now, this is some real stuff right here. The show that you saw me do the other day, you would say that's good, right?
Really good.
Really good.
I chased you down. I said, Trent, get me Chris.
I guarantee you, if we were to record that night and put it on YouTube, it would flop.
What?
Unbelievable, right? How could those two things exist? How could I watch this amazing show, but it flop on YouTube? Because there's a different...
Oh, it translates on camera or something?
I'm making a crowd of people that paid money laugh. That's different from making someone in their underwear on the couch who's scrolling laugh.
Oh.
I need a YouTube video. A good YouTube video needs to make someone who can turn you off laugh. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's a different style of joke. It's a completely different paradigm. So, but what I'm trying to say is I finally feel like I got that down because I did my trial taping December 20th. I watched it and I'm like, this is what I've been waiting for. Because I've made multiple different film attempts.
Yeah.
And I kill. And everyone comes to me after the show like, dude, that was it.
Yeah.
That was it, man. And I go and I look at the video and I'm like, that's not it. There's something missing, man. That's not it.
At least you have the eye for it.
That's
because some people don't know, like they don't realize, but you don't know what you don't know, but you've now built that, man.
And hence why you see so many bad specials.
Yeah, I was just saying, Jim, I said this off camera and you were setting up for us, but what I was telling Chris is like, hey, I've seen local comedy lately and some good stuff. And then I watch a Netflix special and some of these Netflix specials, are not as good as some of the local comedy I'm seeing. And I'm like, wow, so how does this person have a Netflix special? And
you made a comment that I'm waiting for someone to bring up is, do you feed off the audience in a way that it's different than if it's being recorded, but you're still an audience, right? Because Robbie, you've done talks in front of people, and you said several times you feed off
I do a keynote, like motivational speaking stuff.
But you feed off the audience on there. And like, okay, that's not working. Let me go with this angle and this joke or whatever it is. But is it the same with you?
100%. I've made this joke on stage before that, comedy, stand-up comedy is like sex. The more the other person is into it, the more you're going to be into it.
The crowd's response.
If the crowd is just into it, it's going to pull something more out of you.
Yeah.
But if they're just laying there dead, texting, and you're just going to be like, I don't even want to be here right now. You know what I mean? Like,
well, we had good energy that night. What's the place called? I want to give them a shout out. Long Shot Saloon.
Long Shot Brewery, yeah.
Long Shot Brewery. If I say a big shout out to you guys set up a great thing. Trent Babb Productions. It's called Sencal Comedy. He's going to kill me if I don't get that right. Sencal Comedy. There was a great energy that night, and I felt the flow. But we talked about this off camera as well, that just like with genres of music, right? If I'm bringing in 2 R&B acts, I can't throw a country act in there and get the same response from the crowd. You were explaining that comics also come in different styles.
Yeah.
Like it's a high energy lineup or what was that one guy? He passed away. Mitch something.
Mitch Hedberg?
Yeah, I remember he was like this, man.
Yeah.
What you going on, man?
Yeah,
How you
it was
doing?
very deadpan, and
But I loved
his
it.
delivery was very.
I loved it. But you
It was
couldn't
his
have
own
him,
thing.
you couldn't have him with the high energy guy, or you'd be like, wait, which way are we going there?
Yeah, no, there's all kinds of, in the same way that there's different conflicting styles from the comic, there's different styles of audience, and they pull something out of you different, you know. So it's like if I go to an LA comedy club, they're more like cheesecake. They want a rich joke. They want their mind to be challenged. You know, I go to Long Shot Brewery. Yeah, it's just a bunch of good old boys that want to have a fun time. You know, I just want to drink a beer and laugh. I don't really care about, you know, all these.
Is there a deeper message?
Yeah, I just say something to make me laugh. So, you know, and I think that's one thing about the Central Valley, Fresno specifically. Yeah, Fresno, Visalia, and any small town like that is when you go to a show, you really get this energy from the crowd of like, I don't trust the comic and. You know, make me laugh.
Kind of an insecurity, I feel.
Yeah.
And here's what I think, and this is what I felt that night, and I felt it a lot when I go to local comedy, right? So we're in a smaller town, smaller community. The people in entertainment, the people who get on stage, I feel like the attitude, this is generally speaking, this is a stereotype. There's going to be people who don't fit this. But it's like, oh, you know, who does he think he is? He's on stage with the big mic, Mr. Chingon, se cree, right? Right? You know what I mean? Like we want to knock him down a notch because we have our own insecurity vibe going. Whereas in cities like LA, we're amongst artists. We know this is what they came to LA to do. And
I'll give you the grace to say what you want to say. I'll give you the chance to try and entertain me. Where I hear it's more of like, but I mean, that kind of goes in with comedy. Like comedy isn't a good joke. You don't laugh by choice, you know? Like a good laughter is taken from the other person.
Oh, I like that.
Like a sneeze.
Bumper sticker.
You know what I'm saying? Like you don't. So here's the two types of laughs. You know, there's just like I'm gonna laugh and I'm gonna clap because I like you. You know, and you get that from. You know, there's comics out there that really aren't that funny, but they're very likable.
Oh, I'll tell you who they are. Those are the ones who now have a sitcom.
Exactly.
They have a sitcom.
Exactly.
I love you, Kevin James. I love you. I started with love. I started with love. Kevin James, the actor, is funny. Kevin James, the stand-up comedian, you know, a little different.
But if you're watching him, you're going to be in the crowd and you're going to be laughing
and
clapping
I love
because
him.
You like him.
He's a very likable person.
And then there is the jokes that it doesn't matter. You could hate me, but I'm going to get that laugh because the joke is so funny.
Yes.
It's the surprise came out of nowhere. And then when you have the combination of the two, I like this person and they're taking the laugh from me. That's what we call belly laughter. That's what we call that, like that.
Eddie
loud,
Murphy.
Yes, dude, delirious. Eddie, the first Eddie Murphy, the first like Richard Pryor, like all these like the greats, you know, like the George Carlins, where it's just like I can't control it.
I want to say something about George Carlin for a second, and I've never admitted this. He was too smart for me when I was younger. Mm-hmm. I was like, why is this guy funny? Mm-hmm. And now that I'm a little more educated and cultured, I'm like, oh my God, he was saying things long before Chappelle, right?
Yeah, man.
And I was a little embarrassed, like, oh my God, I just wasn't smart enough.
Hey, but at least you have the frame of mind to know that you were wrong.
Yeah, well, I was wrong, big time.
Yeah, and there's some people who never go back and rewatch George Carlin, and they just in their mind, he's not that good. Could you believe that? There's people out there. I saw him. He didn't make me laugh.
Maybe they never got any smarter.
So in retrospective, what's your angle? What's your topic? I guess do you cap on yourself? Do you cap on politics? Do you make?
I can tell you some of it.
Right?
Can I as an audience member? Can I
say
this is what we loved about him that night? At least he is in the working world with the rest of us. right? He gets on stage and he tells jokes, but he tells jokes about stuff that happens to us at our workplace that he is also currently experiencing. And there's such a authenticity and an accuracy with how he's describing his T-Mobile job. And I'm like, oh, I got the same, right? Because can you share a little bit of background of your day job?
Yeah. So when I started doing stand-up, I was unemployed. I wasn't making any money just other than my unemployment checks. And I just got a gig working at some cell phone shop at Verizon in 2009. And I've always had a cell phone job to pay my bills while I do stand-up. So since 2009 till now, I've always been working at some cell phone gig. And that's kind of like my relationship with cell phones is I've always like been a working guy, a salesman, you know what I mean? So
your jokes are related to customer service.
Some of them are,
all the
some of them are. So in your question, Jim, was, hey, what's my angle? I like to talk about what I know, which is customer service, customers. This is something I feel like dealing with a difficult customer, dealing with a weird interaction. I feel like that's something everybody can relate to. You've gone to a store, you've seen it,
Is this in person or is it over the phone?
I just started working at a call center, but most of my experience was in person.
Did you ever have a customer come in and say, hey, I remember you. You were on stage last night at the...
Yeah. So I want to say, like, that gets numb too. There's a point where somebody comes up to you and, like, the girl comes out and brings your food. Oh, I just saw you last night at the... Oh, whoa, she recognizes me. Holy smokes. Like, this is crazy. That happens so much to where it's just, like, nothing. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that happens, but...
Do you sign autographs sometimes, or...
The funniest thing is one of my first shows ever. I want to say my first open mic, I got booked on a show. I did it on Wednesday and I got booked for Friday. And that Friday I performed at Lemoore at the Tachi Palace.
Tachi, that's where I live.
And after the show, someone came up to me and was like, "Can I have your autograph?" I was like 2 shows in, I'm just like, yeah, I'll give you. And ever since then, I've always had this weird, like, you don't even know what you're asking.
Well, no,
if you were 2 shows in, then they must have followed you and saw you twice.
No, well, check this out, okay? Because this is what I'm trying to set up right now. We're gonna ask you to sign something today, right?
I can't do that
with the full knowledge that a couple years or whatever, we're gonna be like, hey. Remember when we had Chris Cruz on the show? Because you're going to be on the Netflix specials and you're going to be doing the world tour. And we were one of the first to have you in studio.
I appreciate that, man. I appreciate
You know what
that,
I mean?
Man.
Like,
we need an autograph wall.
No,
People sign
we
up.
do. Because there's people who have come through here that we know, we know where you're going. You may not yet, but we see it.
I appreciate that, man. Normally, maybe like a couple years ago, I would not even entertain such wild thoughts, but just in the vein of what we're talking about, I feel like there's a chance. Like, just with this last push, with this video, with this battle plan that I have with merch and doing road shows and trying to really get after it, because I have so many different connections that I can call up and be like, hey, man, let me come work with you on this gig. I'm trying to do this, And I feel like people, like comics, have more of a open mind and open heart when you say, hey, man, I'm really going for it. Like, I quit my job.
Exactly.
I got you, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's a chance. There's a chance that maybe in the next, 2 years, if anything's going to happen, something's going to pop off. So I would love to sign something, and I'll give you whatever you want.
I know this is a sidebar, but so I used to have my own company, Chances Are Productions, right? So I do production and stuff like that. And I had a day job, and I was doing it with I was working at Channel 47 and different companies. But there was a time when I got tired of advertising and pushing the envelope and trying to get everybody out there to hire me to shoot their weddings and so on. That what I don't know who it was, but somebody opened a no-brainer light bulb in my head that said, call your competitors. And it was more like, I'm not throwing in the towel per se as far as the career I like to do on the side, but let me help you. What I did was I would call all these different production companies in town, and I said, look, I have my own company, I have my own, and I'm throwing in the towel, but I want to work for you if you have any openings. And so if you have if you want to hire me as a consultant, or if you want to hire me as a stringer or whatever it is, I got more business that way than pushing my own name.
That is absolutely fascinating, and
Yeah.
I could see that working.
And it blew up to where now the person I ended up hooking up with has hired me on almost full time with her.
Fascinating.
Yeah. So it's almost like, hey, let me just fill in. Let me get myself out there. I'm not just pushing me as the lead, but I just need to keep busy. And the phone was ringing at least twice a month.
Wow. You know what I saw comedians doing in LA? I don't know if this is still a thing. Because back in the day, we used to love to be audience members for like Tonight Show, and it was just fun to go watch, right? Because, it led to this later. But I remember, like, if it was the Tonight Show, or if it was Ellen, or if it was different things where we sat in the audience, they would hire a comedian to keep the crowd going while they were setting up cameras. Have you ever tried anything like that?
A fluffer.
Is that what is that what it's called?
Yeah, and they have.
Oh, I'm not gonna
That's
get into
something different in my world, line of work,
but it's the same
Don't
thing.
go
It's
there.
the same
Do
thing.
not go there.
I'm not.
Yeah, no, and that position is very easy. Well, I wouldn't say easy, but it's very attainable through a comedy club.
Okay.
Is if you're a door guy, that's your thing. Before the show starts, you'll do some jokes.
Yeah.
After the show ends, the last comic, 12 o'clock at midnight, they need someone strong because they need people to have a good taste in their mouth. So the last comic has to be strong. And that's why they have their team of door guys. Everyone that works at a comedy club is strong. If it's a good comedy club.
Yeah.
So
like the Comedy Store or Laugh Factory.
Comedy Store is probably, I think, the most like comedian-centric club in LA. And then there's places like the Mothership in Austin and stuff like that. But I mean, to your point on like the Ellen show, they have a whole battalion, and they have a whole battle strategy. Each one of them has their own like fluffer, I would say, the comic that kind of keeps things light.
Yeah.
And that's one of those things where those are harder to get into.
Can you make a living off of those to help with the
okay,
the
so
rest of it?
so there's another thing. Making a living doing stand-up, very difficult. I know I gave you that number, like, if I could make $5,000 a month, if I could make $50,000 a year, that's just pure stand-up. But most stand-up comics that make a living doing stand-up are not making money from stand-up. You know what I mean? They get their skill from stand-up, but they make their money from something else. You could move to LA, struggle, be a stand-up comedian, but then you get seen by the right guy, and now you're the opener for Ellen. Now you're making money. Or you're a writer, you sell a couple scripts. Each one goes for like 60 grand, 70 grand, 10, 30 grand, whatever. This is how you make money, doing other things. You know what I mean? But as the comedian, that's the conduit for all those different outlets.
Well, I'm glad you're talking about that struggle side, because this next angle is the one that you and I talked a little bit about prior to this. This is a mental health awareness, right? So we talk about mental health. And I think about the mental health roller coaster that happens for people in entertainment, right? Comedians, actors, musicians, right? It's this whole nothing's guaranteed. And sometimes there's a big break, and then it's not a big break, and then you think you're almost there, and then you're not there, right? It's a very difficult thing, a lot of adversity, a lot of up and downs, and so to me, that mental health struggle is just a given. It's part of the package. And I recently saw a podcast with Jimmy Fallon, and he said that right before he had his breakthrough on Saturday Night Live, he was like struggling mentally, because he had said, I'm coming to New York, and I am not leaving until I'm on Saturday Night Live. And he had that 5-10 year journey that none of us see, and right towards the end he was about to just pack it up and go home, and mentally he was just gone. And then the big break hit, and I thought, man, this must be like status quo when it comes to this, where you have that mental health journey. And so anytime I see someone who's made it, my first assumption is resilience. Got to be there. I don't care if I like them or not, right? There's had to be some resilience and all that. What has been your mental health journey with the highs and lows of the stage?
So I just want to kind of touch on that little comment you made about Jimmy Fallon and how he was like at his lowest point. And that just reminded me of, you know, the actor that plays Jesus in The Chosen? You watch it? So he has a similar story where he was like, he had $30 in his pocket. He had nothing left, and he gets the biggest break. Were you gonna? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought my bad. Yeah. So it seems like that's break. Yeah. So it's like there's like this known thing in stand-up where if you live in your car and you go and just like take showers at Planet Fitness and you go and like you'll make it. I want to say it's a very high ratio of people that make that leap of faith and end up coming clean on the other side, you know? So it's like, I think there's something to that about jumping into the darkness, that it's almost like a sacred thing that you get rewarded for that. And I mean, I'm going to give you a really crazy story about that. And this is involved with cell phones. I've worked in cell phones since 2009. You can't get weekends off. You can't, a shift like that doesn't exist, you know? No, you can't get that. Not working in a store.
I didn't know that.
No way.
That's the peak hours.
From my perspective, yeah. If you can get that, that's the goal, you know? And there was always this make-believe like position that like you run events, you know? And that's what I got. I was working on the T-Mobile truck for like 5 years, just doing events and stuff. And that was a cool gig, but long, crazy hours. And it was a very comfortable job. I got paid very well. It was very fun. But I wanted more. And I wanted that, you know, weekends off. And you can only get that at the call center. But you got to be like the peak of the peak of the peak to get that. You have to be the best of all these thousands of people that work there. So me not having any experience with call centers, I took a leap of faith, jumped into the call center and just said, hey, let's see what happens. Started in March. Come November, I got a weekends off spot. and if you were to that March say, hey, by the end of the year, you're going to have weekends off, you're crazy. There's no way. Everyone's fighting for that spot. You know what I mean? But that leap of faith, because I just jumped blindly. Everyone was like, don't do it, Chris. Don't do it, man. I hear bad things about the call center. It's a tough gig. You don't want to do that, bro. And I'm just like, I feel something. I feel it, you know, like, and I remember when I made that jump, and it was hard. It was hard for the first like 3 months. I'm doing something completely different. Like, Jim, what would you call the position that you do right now?
Here, or I mean, I'm an educator, so
no, like this. What is this?
Producer. I probably produce and back, you know, behind the scenes thing. Yeah.
All right. So then, let's say you go and you're working in producing, but now your job is to like disassemble and reassemble microphones. You know, completely different gig. You know, in the same thing, but to have faith and confidence that you're going to be able to excel at that just based off how good you were at this. That's a leap of faith, man.
Scary.
You know, so just to your point, when you're bringing up Jimmy Fallon, you get to that low point. I really do think that if you take that leap of faith, that there's something out there that is going to reward you for that, if your heart is true, you know? And to your second point that you made was mental, like what's the mental status? And I think I'm kind of picking up what you're laying down, where it's, I think you made a comment where it's like pain breeds, if you're in a bad mental state, that's what gets, like, is there a correlation between having like a bad mental state and being good? Absolutely. Pain breeds comedy. The best of the best comics. Eddie Murphy, if you listen to his story growing up, very rough growing up scenario. Very, very rough childhood.
Did you see that documentary about him?
Yeah.
The one he did? Oh, phenomenal.
Yeah.
It was just...
Well, one thing that he said that stuck with me multiple times, maybe not just in the documentary, but they were like, hey, so Eddie, if comedy wasn't going to work out, what was plan B? And he's like, There's no plan B. If you make a plan B, it's almost like you're planning to fail because you always have that to fall back on when things get dark.
Dang. And you know what? That even is so real, because if you have a plan B and things, it's almost like the universe is working with you. You know you're not going to make plan A, so the universe is going to route you to plan B. But if you don't have a plan B, the universe is going to create a path for you to just keep going straight. Have you heard Jim Carrey's story?
I was thinking of him.
Woo! He wrote himself a check for $5 million. And
without having it.
Without having, he had nothing. He had nothing. And then that's when he caught his big break, you know, and
suffered.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah,
suffered.
man. But,
you know, he had a show that I'm still mad they canceled. Did you ever hear about that show he had on HBO called I'm Dying Up Here? It had like 2 seasons.
Yeah, that was his.
Yeah.
Oh,
Did you
man,
watch
that was good.
It's my favorite. I was like, how did this get canceled? That was his show. And it was a lot of it.
Documentary? It was a documentary?
No. It was a show. But it was comics trying to make it and all the things that happened along the way. But it took place in like the 80s, I believe, was the era for that. But there was, because that's when he was coming up in the 80s. He was like a Chappelle who's like 15, 16 years old, right, when he's first. But anyway, with that being said, comedy comes from pain. Is there a lot of pain for Chris? Growing up, or
I would say, I mean, if you're gonna be funny, that's not gonna come from being secure.
Good times.
You're not trying to make everyone laugh if everything's going right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You're trying to hide or run from something, you know?
Or at least manage it, right? Cope.
Something, yeah. It's not, you don't really find someone where everything's going right and they're just like killing, you know? Pain breeds comedy. Pain breeds comedy 100%. And the best comics are very tortured, you know, they're suffering.
Is there a formula to a joke, you think? Right? Where it's like, okay, observation. Okay, now how do I take this observation and make it funny? And then now how do I verbalize that with a punchline?
If there is, I don't know. If there is, all I know is just through repetition, I kind of know what. So when I first started doing stand-up, I would write every joke out, every word, every single word. And before I went on stage, I would write my set out and make predictions of how the jokes would go. And then afterwards, I would write how the jokes actually went, and I would cross-reference my predictions from what really. And there was a lot of writing, you know. And for the first, I want to say 5 years, I was just writing. And then it got to the point where I did it. I was on stage so much that it just became commonplace. Now I don't have to do that. It all happens in the mind. Now I can just have a thought, think of it, say it, and, you know, it's going to be as close to finished when I think of it as it's going to be, you know? Like, I might have to do a couple of tweaks here and there, but, so where jokes come from, it's just something funny. You know, you just have your mind wanders, you know?
Well, I heard of this thing, and I don't know if it's all comics that do this, but it's like, hey, I'm going to take this joke on stage and work it out on stage. To me, that takes a lot of courage, because it's like the audience doesn't know that you're working out a joke. All they know is like, he's supposed to make me laugh, and I don't know about that one.
That's high level. There's different levels of technique and approaches. I wouldn't try something like that. I mean, if you got balls, go out and do that. But I personally didn't start doing that until beyond 10 years. You know, where you just have a thought and be like, I'm not going to touch it until I go on stage. And that's a method that was made popular by Louis C.K. Is he would only come up with the premise and he would start saying it on stage.
Yeah.
And then the idea behind that is you're either going to sink or swim. Mm-hmm. And your keen senses aren't going to allow you to bomb. So if you just come up with the premise and you just start rambling, you will figure it out, and it'll kind of write itself.
Sounds like Robin Williams kind of was, right? Like he was on and he was kind of improvising, and he had a premise, and then he would go with it, and because I was like, "There's no way that could be scripted." You know,
You'd be surprised.
Some of the things he did, and he'd go into this voice, and then just
You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised how scripted the most random stuff.
oh, that feels to us. Okay, so you've met a lot of working comics, right? That we would know through your years on tour, like Pablo, etc.
Mm-hmm.
Of all the people that you've come across throughout the years, who stood out to you as like, man, this guy is the real deal on stage and off stage?
Ken Flores.
Ken Flores.
He was one that was just like, this is.
Wait, did he pass?
He passed away.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
I'm very grateful for having to experience him in person. But it's just like you're watching like an angel. I don't know, or like a superhero or something. Like it's you see him on stage, powerful. Off stage, powerful, and it's crazy. You know, I remember I told him it's kind of like, you ever go to a barbershop
Yeah.
and everyone's joking and everyone's laughing and
Yeah.
stuff like that, and there's like a really funny barber. That barber could not go on stage and do that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Ken was like that. Ken was like that, where he could just make you laugh. He was just a naturally funny person, and he could translate it on stage. You know, back and forth, just like a one of a kind. Yeah, he's definitely the person that stands out. That's on and off. Just.
I'm glad you brought that up, because think about this, Jim. You're a coach, right? He coaches tennis and golf now, or is it?
We'll wait and see.
Well,
We'll
anyway,
say it in one.
even if you're a coach or an athlete, you've witnessed this. You've got your practice heroes, and you're like, oh, this guy's going to be great in the game. And then you got the crowd and the referees and the other team, and all of a sudden, right, they're not quite the same athlete they were in practice, because in practice there was no pressure. And if it messed up in practice, it was no big deal. So there was that mental freedom to just go all out. And now they're a shell of that athlete, because now you've got the crowd and the audience. And then the guys who stepped up then are called the gamers, right? I feel like comedy might have that, where it's like, man, Joey's the class clown. You should get on stage, Joey. And then Joey gets on stage and he's like, right? And so now there's a spotlight.
Very common. Very common for someone who's talented off stage not to be able to transition that on stage. And that's one thing that that's very tough for up-and-coming comics, is like, you're very good, you go on stage, you bomb, that doesn't feel good. I never want to do that again. And that's the last you hear of them. Someone that could have been great will get that far and be like, nah, this ain't for me. I don't want to do that. You know, I've seen it with my own eyes, where I've been hanging out with friends. I'm like, dude, you are funny, bro. Go on stage and just say what you just said. It'll make people laugh. And they just say it wrong. They're stuttering. They're nervous.
Yeah.
They get off and like, nah, man, I'm not good. I'm like, it's not that you're not good. You didn't say it the way that you said it
Yeah.
normally. And
Yeah, and a big thing, you know, I've never said this to you, Robert, but I love making people laugh. So like in my family, we're talking about things around my dad would laugh at all my jokes and everything. And he laughed at the way we told the story, or the way I did. And I used to always think in the back of my mind, like, would that angle, the way I presented that to my family, and everyone's laughing at the jokes, and my sister-in-law and everyone would laugh, would that work on stage? Hell no. You know, because you don't know your audience to know, like us growing up, you know, being in like growing up in a row scene, the projects, feeling like, you know, we were poor. And one of my main jokes I tell Robert is we had one of the first pools in the neighborhood, but it was a trash can that we filled with water, you know, and all these little jokes and stuff. But I love comedians that talk about things that relate to me and you know, things that I'm like, oh, like you were saying, you know, those are the jokes I'm like, you know, yeah, I could relate, you know, growing up around friends that were from Mexico and all the stuff that they did, you know, when they would go to Mexico and come back, and how the mosquitoes were as big as your hand, and, you know, all these certain things. But it's funny to try to say that on stage. You know.
Plus everybody knew you and liked you, because it was your family.
Yeah.
oh,
On
Jim,
stage, it's a neutral party.
Jim, I'm going to tell you right now, brother, you have the mindset of a great stand-up comedian. I'm telling you that curiosity and that train of thought is what you need. And that's actually how I started. because the thing is, the joke that you would tell your dad and he would laugh. There's something in you that's like, is he just laughing because he likes me?
Yeah.
Or is it because the joke I said was really funny?
Yeah.
Now what you have to do, because this is the exact method that I used when I first started, is take that joke and try it in front of someone else. Now, the hard part is, how do I can't go up to someone, hey, let me try this joke on you. Hell no. They're going to be guarded. You need to find a way to naturally get that joke in. And that's the real hard part. That's the corny part is I'm now talking to someone else and I'm finding a way. How can I get the conversation to this trash can thing? You know what I mean? Like, and then you say it. Then when you finally get there, you make them laugh. And then you go to someone else and you make them laugh. And once you have a pattern, it takes 3 points in any graph to make a pattern. Once you have 3 points, now you're cooking with grease.
And that's why I really respect Fluffy, Iglesias, what's his name?
Gabriel
Iglesias. Because all he did was tell stories about his life and everything.
Yeah.
And we're sitting there, I've seen him like 3 times. And I'm just thinking, he's just talking about his experiences.
Telling his story.
But the way he presents it and his sound effects and all that,
Great
that adds to
storyteller.
it. Yeah, he's a great storyteller.
I'm glad you brought that up because I wanted to ask Chris about this. These guys have come through town, a lot of these big names. Who did you meet that was like on their way and now is just blown up and you were like, oh, I could see that coming? Or
I couldn't see it coming, but Rene Vaca,
yeah.
I knew he was going to be big. I knew he was gonna, I knew he was funny, but I didn't know he was gonna get to where he is now.
He makes me uncomfortable. You know why? Because Jim, have you seen him? He has a couple of YouTube videos.
No, I'm gonna look him up right now.
And he'll like if someone's talking, hey, shut the F up. No, he does this. Go get her. Hey, you guys, go get her. And then and I'm like, oh my God.
Rene Vaca has some legendary clips. There are some eternal clips that they're just funny. However many times you watch them, you can watch them 100 times and they're funny. There's just one clip he has where he says a joke and then there's this guy with a tattoo, like a teardrop tattoo.
Yeah.
And he laughs and he's like, oh my God. And then he was like, did you just say, oh my God? You can't have a teardrop tattoo and say, oh my God, that's ridiculous. And like that clip, eternal. You know what I mean? And like it'll never stop being funny as many times as I see it. But he's got a bunch of those. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he was somebody that I worked with where we were just ragtag, guys doing shows.
Yeah.
He was doing shows in Merced. I was doing shows in Fresno. But
he's from Merced.
No,
where's he from?
I don't know if he's from.
He feels local. He does.
He's a normal guy. He's a normal guy. But at one point, since then, he just put 100% energy. He did that leap. He jumped off into the darkness.
Yeah,
and has paid off because he's a superstar right now.
So is his angle to work the crowd? I mean, because that
crowd work.
Yeah, because I could like who's that? Matt Rife. Is that his name?
Yeah.
That's ballsy, man. I don't know how they do that.
Well, crowd work. There's conflicting. Viewpoints on crowd work. Now, I wouldn't say that Rene is a crowd work comic. Those are just the clips he puts up. If you actually listen to his stand-up, very good, very well written. He's but he doesn't post those clips. Post the crowd work clips. And crowd work is difficult and easy at the same time. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't take much to. It feels harder than it is, but it's really not. Like I mean. Imagine there's a crowd and like the front row, there's a guy wearing a cowboy hat, Look at this guy's wearing a cowboy hat. What's up? What are you, like a cowboy or something? Where's your horse at, man? Oh, whatever. You're just talking about something. Oh, look at this chick. You know what I mean? Like,
what's the strangest thing you've seen? Like you're just standing up there and you're like, wait a minute. Like what? Like
strangest thing I've seen.
Like Joe Coy came to town and this lady had on a bright yellow furry jacket, like Tweety Bird, right? And he's just like, wait, time out. Right here. No one's gonna say nothing about this. Have you had something like that just jumps out at you and you're like, what? How am I seeing this? Like a members only jacket or
something strange. I can't think of anything. I mean, there has been a time where I thought a lady was pregnant, and
you said congratulations.
Yeah, and her jaw dropped. Like she was just like, "Did you just say I'm pregnant?" And I'm like, oh no, oh no, like you know what I mean? Like that's the
ouch.
But that's sometimes that could be funny though.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but yeah.
Well, I saw the other day because every now and then I'll stream through YouTube and I'll just like grab a comedian who's just like while we're waiting to decide what we're gonna do, and I forgot the name of this comic, but he kept looking at this guy in the audience. And he kept looking at him, and he was looking at him. He stopped what he was saying. He was looking at him, and this guy just had this look in his eyes. The camera went to the guy in the audience, and he's like, "What's up, dude? You asleep?" And the guy next to him goes, "No, he's blind." And he was like, "Oh,
that was
dude.
Matt, right?
Yeah." So,
wow.
But yeah, it was. Oops.
So okay, so special coming up. That's the next move, right? And can we say officially that you're going all in?
I really got to see how this special comes out. You know, I really got to see, because my whole angle is I'm going to start doing shows, and I want to have a special that I can because imagine that long shot show, everyone's, and I'm like, hey, I got a special on YouTube, go watch it. You'd probably go watch it.
Yeah.
I need that to be good. I need whatever I point you to be rock solid, you know? So we'll really see how this one comes out. But I have a feeling that, I'm going to be going for it here. I'm going to start in the summer and just give it a good old year.
Yes. Okay, so this is what we want to do, right? What we want to do is we're going to wait, find a date and time, and then we want to release this episode, you know, sometime before that, right? So that people can hear about it and really get to know you. Because I feel like one of the unique parts of a podcast or even an interview is that you get to meet the person before they hit the stage, right? On a level that you just don't really get, because I thought you were funny and we laughed, but now I know a whole different side to you that really makes me appreciate the jokes even more.
Righteous, man.
So we're gonna do that, because I'm telling you, man, you're on the couch right now, but 2 years from now, we're going to be talking, hey, remember that time when Chris Cruz came to the studio?
You got to promise to come back, though, when you go that big, right?
Hey, no, you can't forget us, Chris.
I will, man. I will.
All right, man. Well, I want to thank you so much for being on the show today. Man, give me that.
Yeah, man. Give me some of that, man.
Give me some sugar.
Jim, I got some love for you too, man.
So from Jim Chance and Chris Cruz, this is Rob Izquierdo, Rob Live, saying love, peace, and chicken grease. We out.